So in the last couple of weeks, I've been playing The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim for the first time in my entire life. And after spending 25 hours in the game, I've noticed a lot of great aspects that the game has. So in today's video, I wanted to make a small review mid-game to tell you about my 3 best things that really surprised me in Skyrim. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the atmosphere in this game. I mean, literally, you know, the Elder Scrolls 3 and 4 also did great jobs when it came to the atmosphere, but they're unmatched when it comes to Skyrim. I mean, shit. It struck me for the first time when I was walking around, somewhere around Whiterun, and this incredible music started playing. I'll play a clip of that now. I mean, I literally left my mouse and keyboard and just sat back and kind of watched this world. It was such a great feeling. It was an incredible, it was peace, you know, it was peace exploring this game and listening to those tunes with this great atmosphere that the game comes with. And as I talked about in the Elder Scrolls 3, 4, it was extremely easy to immerse myself in those games, but that was literally something different, and I think that it's even better than the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind when it comes to the aspect of immersion and of the atmosphere. And I had very few experiences like these in video games, but Skyrim, when it comes to the atmosphere and the whole package while exploring this open world, literally I think is in a league of its own. And also all the sounds around you, you know, how they change at night and how real everything gets when you just roam through the open world at night, and how peaceful everything is, was simply breathtaking and definitely one of the biggest highlights that I was very surprised by in the Elder Scrolls V. Okay, so the next great thing about Skyrim is how the game rewards your curiosity by exploring a dark path, a dungeon, or a forest pretty much. You know, just how Skyrim rewards us for being curious. You know, we don't really see that in a lot of games, especially modern games, but what I found very interesting in Skyrim was that every time I was curious and started to discovering some things in a dungeon, let's say, it led to some reward. For example, if you just roam the open world, suddenly you might see some cave, go in there, and then there will be 10 different paths where most of them will reward you in some way. Whether it is a fallen soldier with great loot, or just a chest with better loot than you have, or whether it just is a letter with an incredible story. In some way, Skyrim actually allows us to be curious in this game without actually feeling like we didn't do anything. And while modern games really have this one linear path that rarely allows us to be curious, if we are, it oftentimes isn't really worth it. And in Skyrim, after the first couple of hours, I already noticed that in this game I can be as curious as I want to, because almost every time it will be rewarded by the game. Okay, so now when it comes to the third great thing that I was very surprised by in Skyrim, I had a couple of things that I wanted to mention, but I decided to focus on the soundtrack of the game. And as I already said in the first point when I talked about the atmosphere, a big part of why the atmosphere is so great was the soundtrack in the background. But I listened to the whole soundtrack literally about 20 times now. It is one of the best soundtracks I have ever heard in video games. And listen, me being a guy that has played instruments for almost all my life, and I played the piano now for over 13 years, and I really know how important a good soundtrack is for a video game. It is probably one of the most overlooked aspects in why some of those games that we play are so great and so immersive. Literally a couple of videos ago I talked about this, that Far Cry 5 was one of my favorite Far Cries because the soundtrack of the game was simply outstanding. And the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, when it comes to the soundtrack, definitely is one of the best games and one of the best soundtracks I've ever listened to. As I talked about, I really liked, especially the Elder Scrolls 4 soundtrack. I think that the third Elder Scrolls game had a great main theme, but the soundtrack lacked depth in my opinion. The soundtrack of Oblivion was definitely an upgrade, but the soundtrack of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is simply incredible. Like, from everything, when it comes to the main theme, and even to those peaceful sounds. I mean, listen to the streets of Whiterun, or listen to Secunda, you know, it's simply outstanding, and I was very, very surprised that the soundtrack of the game was this good. And as I said, soundtracks, in my opinion, are definitely one of the most overlooked aspects when it comes to video games. Obviously, everybody talks about the open world, everybody talks about the gameplay or the story, which definitely are the most important aspects, but the soundtrack can really make or break a game and an atmosphere in an instant. And we people really need to realize that. And while it was extremely easy to make this video, because there are so many great things that I love about the game, even though I haven't even finished yet, it was still so tough to choose between those three. One of my next videos will be surrounding 3 things that I hate about Skyrim, which will be a very difficult video to make, because it's quite hard to find very bad things in Skyrim. But listen, I know that people talk about how great this game is. Now, to finally being able to explore this game myself, well, I didn't really think it was that good. Obviously, I'll make a full-on review once I finish this game, like I do with every game I review on this channel. But now I just wanted to highlight those 3 things. After being, I think, almost halfway through the game, I was very surprised by them. And as I said, it will be extremely hard to pick 3 things that I absolutely hate. But now I'm interested in your opinions. What are your top 3 things that you absolutely love about the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim? As always, write your opinions down in the comments. I'm very happy to read those. Alright guys, that was it from me in today's video. I wish you all an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.